Hello! I have now finished my Nikki Graham book, Dying to be Thin, which I mentioned in my last video, and I've just started my next book, which is called The Reason I Jump, The Inner Voice of a 13-Year-Old Boy with Autism by Naoki Higashida. I hope I pronounced that right. But back to the Nikki Graham book. This is literally one of the most harrowing reads I have ever come across. It's just an incredible story of how someone so young could be succumbed by an eating disorder, and she's come out on the other side a much stronger person. So thank you, Nikki Graham, for this book. It was just incredible. I cried a number of times. I'm speechless with how amazing this book is. This week is Eating Disorders Awareness Week. This week has been created to raise awareness and promote understanding of eating disorders, to challenge the stigmas and the stereotypes surrounding the illnesses, and also to raise funds for the various eating disorder charities across the world. This special week is not only taking place in the UK where I am, it's also taking place in other countries. One of the most well-known UK charities which support people who suffer from eating disorders and their families is Beat. And this is where my t-shirt's from. If you're interested in getting a top or any of their merchandise that they sell, I will put a link in the description for you. Before I start, this topic is really close to my heart, so if I get emotional, I apologise in advance, because I cried writing some notes down for this. Eating disorders are serious mental illnesses which affect 1.6 million people in the UK. But this figure, as big as it is, it doesn't include those who are suffering in silence and haven't told anyone. It doesn't count people who haven't been diagnosed professionally, outpatients, people that are going through outpatient care, and also people going through private clinics. So this number isn't really so exact because of people not seeking help and other reasons as well. So they say 1.6 million, but there's a lot more than that because of these factors. One huge stereotype for the illness is that it just affects teenage girls, but this is not the case at all. The number of males that are affected by an eating disorder is fast on the rise, and I've had a lot of very close friends who have suffered from an eating disorder, and they are men. Something needs to be done about the rise in numbers and awareness, because eating disorders carry the highest rate of mortality of any psychiatric disorder. Now, this can be because of medical complications to do with the eating disorder, because obviously if you're punishing your body, it will destroy your organs. There is no nicer way of me to put it. But also because it can affect the sufferer's mind so much that all I can think about is food and controlling, and they don't see a way out. So unfortunately there's a high rate of people with eating disorders committing suicide because they feel like there's no way out. Now, a lot of people think there's only two sorts of eating disorders. Big ones that are covered by the media are anorexia nervosa and bulimia nervosa. But if I was to tell you there was another category, that might surprise some people who aren't aware of eating disorders. The biggest category for eating disorders is a category known as EDNOS. EDNOS stands for eating disorder not otherwise specified. Now, this could mean that a sufferer has either anorexic and bulimic behaviours, so they fall into this category because they don't just fall into one of them. In EDNOS as well, it can also mean they have a completely different disorder. So it could be that they have picker, or they could have binge eating disorder, or their symptoms may not fit all the criteria of one set disorder, because eating disorders aren't black and white. When I was doing research for this video, I'm quite clued up with eating disorders and what sorts there are, But when I was getting more into it, I found myself thinking, I don't know a lot about a big area of eating disorders, because there are just so many. There are so many that fall into EDNOS that I didn't even know that they existed. And it's shocking. It's really shocking. The awareness of these disorders needs to be raised to a higher level. And as you probably saw from my Time to Talk Day video, I'm a really big advocate for mental health. There are so many reasons why I'm a huge advocate for mental health issues, especially eating disorders. But a big reason is because I've seen a lot of my friends suffer from eating disorders and other mental illnesses, that I've seen how it can destroy someone's life and their families as well. It's really important to remember the families that have to look after these people who are really ill. I've been in situations a number of times where people that I know and love very much have admitted they have an eating disorder, and I've heard really horrible comments said to their face and behind their back. The two worst ones I've heard are, I'm getting upset just thinking about it, it's just making me angry. Oh well, it can't be that bad because you're not that skinny, and why don't you just eat? It just makes me so angry because I've seen so many people suffer from these disorders, and that's all they had to say. Not, I'm going to try and support you, I want to try and understand. If it was as easy as them just going, oh, I'll have my food, then there wouldn't be a big problem with eating disorders. I'm sorry, if it was that easy and there wasn't something mentally blocking them from eating, then they would surely have been able to do it and not have a problem. The worst one I heard was about telling someone that they don't look that bad, they can't be that bad, they don't look skinny enough. That is probably the worst thing you can tell someone who has an eating disorder. Because if you have a friend that tells you that, they will doubt their diagnosis of the illness, and it will fuel their disorder even more because they'll want to prove that they are what they've been labelled, and I hope people out there haven't had that experience. So if you don't understand why or anything like that, don't make a comment like that. Eating disorders are so much more than about losing weight. Obviously it becomes an obsession that they want to lose weight, but to start off with, it's mostly used as a coping mechanism. I'm not going to say for everyone it isn't because they want to be skinny, because everyone is different that suffers from an eating disorder. There's not one set thing as to why people want to be skinny and they go to the level of having an eating disorder. As I said, the losing weight is just a symptom. It's more about them a sufferer wanting to control something that's happening in their life that they feel they can't control. And they feel that if they can control their eating, then everything is going to be okay and they don't need to think about other problems that they have in their life. If you feel that you're not clued up on about eating disorders and you want to know more, I will put some links in the description for you which will help you out with some information about them. An eating disorder, the mindset doesn't care if you are a certain age, race, sex, how privileged you are, where you are in your life, how happy you were before. It will take over and it will manifest. A great programme that is investigating eating disorders in the UK is on Channel 4 and it's called Super Size vs Super Skinny. Emma Woolf, who is a journalist and an author as well, investigates different aspects of the disorder. She is looking at it from how it comes about, so triggers. She's looked at it running in families. She's looked at it in disabled people as well, because a lot of people just assume that people with disabilities won't have an eating disorder, which is completely and utterly false. Emma Woolf suffered from an eating disorder as well, So when she reports it, it's just, she does it so sensitively and so graciously, and with some of the stories she's heard, you can just see that she is so happy to be in recovery and happy with her life. We've tweeted each other a number of times, and she's one of the nicest people on Twitter. I will put some links for her in the description of where you can find her, because she's just an inspiration to everyone. Even if you're not affected by an eating disorder, she's just an incredible human being. A shocking statistic about eating disorders is that over 20 million people will suffer from one in their lifetime. But if you put it into perspective, 20 million people, there's 63 million people living in the UK. That's like a third of the UK suffering from an eating disorder. Why isn't more being done? Why isn't there more research going on? And why are mental health beds being cut by the government? It doesn't make sense, because they're on the rise. There's more and more people suffering, not just from eating disorders, but from other mental health disorders. If you suffer from an eating disorder and you stumble across this video, then I have an important message for you. That message is to say that you're not alone. Never think you're on your own with what you're having to cope with. I know it can feel like no one understands you, and you feel so isolated because maybe you're not ready or open enough to talk to your friends or family about what's going on. But unless you try and open up, things aren't going to get better, and that's the truth. And I would hate to know that anyone watching this video is suffering in silence, because it literally just breaks my heart. I know sometimes it feels that with an eating disorder, you feel that you are stuck. You're going to be forever this way, and nothing's going to change. But it is never too late to try. And even if you stumble in recovery, it doesn't mean that it's forever. Relapses happen, but you can go back on the recovery wagon. It's okay to stumble sometimes. We stumble through life. Stay strong, and if you need help or anything, I've got some links in the description as well that can help you, and I'm always here to talk to anyone who needs anything. So I've put my Tumblr, Twitter and Instagram on there. I know you can't really talk to me much on Instagram, but you can direct message me on Twitter and send me messages on Tumblr. If you think someone you care about is suffering from an eating disorder, it is important that you not only educate yourself, be patient, and try and seek professional help as soon as you can. The longer that the eating disorder is left to fester in a person, the more it becomes entrenched. Thank you for watching this video. This was really emotional for me to film, so I've had to edit it quite a bit because I had to cry a number of times. I hope this helps someone. Click like, subscribe. My Tumblr and Twitter are always open for if anyone needs to talk. I found on Tumblr that quite a few people have asked me questions and have asked for support, and I'm more than happy to help you if that is what you need. I'll see you on the flip side, guys.